So I came over to stick my head in to see what was going on in here. And Merida's laying right here in front of the door. Underneath of her, she has one baby. One beautiful little tiny baby. And she has abandoned all of the other eggs back there. And that's okay. Up there is Marguerite. Where are your babies, darling? She has them bedded down somewhere. I didn't know she even roosted at night, but she does, apparently. And Taylor, and over there in that corner is Merida. Or Elena, excuse me. This is Merida. So I'm going to leave them alone instead of bothering them. Daddy's outside, and you can see apparently they're not really a fan. I brought them some grapes today, some cut up grapes, and some kale. Apparently kale is not their favorite food. I'm going to start cutting lettuce out of the garden. But let's leave them alone. Let them get some sleep. The babies, Mama has them somewhere. Latch this gate good. I think what we're going to do, we were planning on making the extra outside enclosure on that side of their house, but we've decided to make it quite large. So we're going to come out from this corner about 15 feet this direction and go all the way back to the fence. It's bothered me really badly that they're having to stay enclosed for such a long amount of time. And I'm concerned about the babies because I'm not certain that the babies really can be released outside anytime soon for their safety, actually. So I think we're just going to keep them enclosed, and hopefully Ferdinand will just want to join them here. So it'll be a nice big area. Lots and lots of green stuff for them to eat and nosh on. And just, just safety. It just needs to be safe. But, yeah. So I wanted to take y'all down and see what's going on with the tomatoes. I didn't get the weed eating done today. It's been a really busy, really busy weekend. Yesterday was the best family reunion, and I sent Hugh on to that. I know, y'all. I should have gone with, but he loves to go and talk to his cousins and just visit, and he has a really good time, whether I'm there or not. He just enjoys himself so much. And, I guess this sounds like a kind of a cop-out excuse because we are at 8.5 years without Jared. But Memorial Weekend is a hard weekend every year for me. And I just didn't want to be around people. And not that people ask questions. They don't. That's fine. But sometimes you just have a heaviness in your spirit. And I know any of y'all that have lost someone really close to you, you understand that. All right. Now these are those little red amaranth. And they're not super successful, but they're fairly successful. You can see the little red shadow all the way down through there. And then the little yellow shadow on beyond. So they're fine. Enough of them live that they'll be productive for us. And of course the peppers. And this whole row will be peppers. We have about 60 pepper plants that will be ready to set out next week. And then we have a whole row of zinnias. And this row is Let me see, my mind went blank. Oh, you know, a very, very, very common, mostly autumn flower. I always associate it with autumn. It's not a chrysanthemum. All right, Francisca, you can tell me. And then down there at the end, there's some Cosmo. But my mind went blank. Y'all know what they are. You can tell by the leaf pattern. They have a real strong smell that most people don't really like, that smell. But just for your information, just in case you don't know this, because I didn't know this either, if you love the flower but don't want the smell, you can actually take the foliage off and you'll be left with just the flower. And the smell is all in the leaves. That's true about dill too, because as I've studied the cut flower farming, I have found out that a lot of people use dill in cut flower arrangements. And I've thought to myself, why would anybody want a cut flower arrangement that smells like a pickle? But just like that particular flower, marigold, guys, it's a marigold. Hello. Just like the marigold, if you take the leaves off and just leave the flower head, then you are left with something that's beautiful that doesn't smell. And with the dill, I would use the dill in an arrangement if I can keep my arrangement from smelling like a pickle. All right, I set these out today. And I scooted Chelsea. Chelsea did not come over this weekend because this weekend was her birthday weekend. And I wanted her just to enjoy the weekend off. Hugh helped me across the road. We planted corn and we planted beans. And over here, I planted all of the seedlings that were ready. But up here, I also planted about 120 seeds. I just direct sowed. Last year, we weren't real successful with that. But I very much believe that was because I didn't keep them wet enough. But we are expecting a whole week of rain this week. So I thought now's a good time to try that and see if it's going to work, because that will cut down on a lot of work if just direct sowing the sunflowers, because that's a weekly thing. There's just one on each little plant because it's a pro cut. It's a no pollen sunflower, and we plant them so close together that we end up with a small sunflower, which is what we want for the bouquets. So we're trying to do about 100 a week. And I have another succession on the hardening off table. So this will be 1, and then on the hardening off table will be 2, and then the seed down there will be 3. And if those little seed are poking up by the end of next week, then instead of starting more, I will go ahead and just direct sow another 120. It's much easier, obviously. Much, much easier. So you can see we're expecting rain tonight. And that will be good. The problem is we have a lot of things that need to be set out. And they'll get in the ground even if we do it in wet ground. We've done that before. And the flowers actually love it. But I've set up 1.5 or about 1.25 rows of tomatoes. And these are tomatoes like Bradley's and Cherokee Purple and things of that nature. And I haven't even started my Romas. I have the seed. But the Romas, I wanted to do those a little bit later. So I'm going to get those started this week, and then they will be going out at the end of June. This looks so stubbly through here. Last year we had such a nice lush growth of grass. This year we have the stubs left over from the winter wheat. But you can see the tomatoes are good. I mean, they're happy. I planted them really, really deeply. I hear a kitty cat coming. If you're not real familiar with that, and I wasn't, there's so many things I've learned since we moved back to Crabtree. But one thing that's interesting about growing tomatoes, when you put them in the ground, say your tomato is, let's say it's 8 inches tall. We'll take the bottom leaves off, and there's usually 2 that are about halfway down the stem. Snap those off and plant your tomatoes halfway up that stem. Plant it that deep. And I know that sounds extreme, but that does a couple of things for you. First of all, it supports your tomato, and all those little fine hairy things on the stem itself, they will create roots. So you have a great foundation for your tomato that won't blow over easily in the wind. That gives it some wonderful sturdiness. This bottom row is about 2/3. It's empty over here, but over there we have all different types of melons and things of that nature, and they're doing fine. I think I'm going to have to bring them just a little dose of organic fertilizer. We usually try to put fertilizer in the ground before we plant. This year I just kind of forgot about doing that. So, but it did have cover crop on it, so it has some nutrition in there. But I will give it a little bit of my organic fertilizer. If you use organic fertilizer in place of the synthetic, it actually will help your soil microbes. It won't hurt them. So that's good. And I haven't been back down here to finish up our trellis, but we do have enough wood to finish one more row and to go ahead and build one more tunnel. So that's on the plans for this week as well. And you can see all those climbers on this side. And then on this side, we have grapes. And yes, I realize they're planted really close together. And that's not how they're going to stay. We just needed to get them in the ground so that they could start establishing a root. And this is temporary. We're going to need some more space for them. But yeah, I don't know what that kitty's doing. Little bugger. But they're looking good. I think they're happy since we put them in the ground. They're leafing out more. So, yeah. This stage, with all of the garden plants, if you've ever, and especially as hot and windy as it has been, and us trying to plant, any of you that are gardeners, you know that causes some transplant shock. Makes them kind of droopy and unhappy. They don't like wind, especially, and they don't like a lot of bright sun when they first go out. We did harden them off for at least 10 days, I think, this time. So they had plenty of time to harden off, but they're just still, the wind is just not their friend. But in about a week, I'll bring y'all back down here and let you see them, and you'll be surprised at their recovery and how happy they look. I think I'm going to go and close down my hardening off tables. I have one side fixed. Get the other side fixed. It's time to close up the chickens. And I think I am finished for this day. And I've got an egg in my pocket. Prissy and Ann, they lay eggs almost every day. So I have to get their eggs either off the porch where they lay them in their little nesting box, or out of their little playpen that they stay in during the daytime hours. It's pretty funny. But they give us an egg each almost every single day. So hopefully this week I will finish with the weed eating, or Chelsea will finish with the weed eating. She is a weed eating brute. When she gets a weed eater in her hand, sometimes she will weed eat for 6 hours straight. And there's so much to weed eat here, y'all. It's just crazy. These rows can be mowed, but you just have to catch it before it gets this tall. Our mower won't do it when it's this tall. So once we get it under control, then we'll keep it mowed instead of having to weed eat it. The year got away from us. Too many projects. Too many projects. All right, y'all. It looks kind of abysmal down through there, but I promise that in a month's time we'll start seeing color, and it will be neat and lush and beautiful and productive. And I, for one, cannot wait. I love you, love you. You have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.